Hello, everybody. This is my first podcast. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Tracy Busch Pate. That's Busch, B-U-S-C-H. Pate. Busch is my family name. Pate is my kid's name. So I go by all three. Tracy Busch Pate. I used to be Tracy Busch. Then I was Tracy Pate. Now I'm Tracy Busch Pate. And so who is Tracy Busch Pate? I'm the oldest of 6 children. I was raised in Indiana by my father and mother. It's 3 boys and 3 girls. And I had a great upbringing. I was taught swimming lessons as a kid. I was always an entrepreneur. Then as I got older, I was going to college and I was working for the National Cheerleaders Association. I was working for the National Cheerleaders Association. I had a car accident driving to one of the camps, and so I actually was airlifted to the hospital after that and lost the use of the right side of my body. And from that, I've had a lifetime of learning how to recover and learning how to stay sharp, because that's what life has always dealt me. Okay. My father founded the American Chiropractor magazine. When I moved from, I'm skipping some steps. I went from Indiana to Indiana University. After Indiana University, I decided to move to Naples, Florida, where I met my ex-husband, now ex-husband, and I had 4 kids, and I was in the biggest moms club there ever, and I had a play group for the kids each night of the week. And then when we decided to make a change, we actually moved to Panama. And Panama was what my dad found as the Manhattan of the Americas. So we moved to Panama. After the first year of my ex-husband and I living there and our kids going to international school, I decided that I was bored working out all the time and taking Spanish lessons. So I went back into the family business, which was the American Chiropractor magazine. Still is. And now I've got 2 chiropractors in my family, my father and my brother Rick, and my other brother Joe, my 3 chiropractors in the family. Joe is a chiropractor in Panama still, and he's the educational director of the American Chiropractor magazine. And I'm still doing that. I'm still loving it, and I love sharing the gift of health with chiropractors worldwide. And it's something that my brothers and sister and I do together. We travel for the magazine. We look for authors, educators, people that can write, people that can advertise. But what I've come to find is my dream job that I'm doing now is real estate. I love real estate. So my passion is sharing real estate with anyone who wants to share it with me. And I've got a global team because I'm with Keller Williams. So if you let me know whether you want to buy, sell, invest near or far, I'm going to be able to find someone to work with you if I cannot. So anyway, then after my 17 years of marriage, and my kids had started coming back to the States for college, I got a divorce. And so then after I was living in Panama for about 6 more years, decided that I needed to make the change too to be closer to my family. I came back to Miami. That's why I chose Miami, because I wanted to be closer to my family. And I came back, and I'm like, okay, mom's back, and nobody wanted to move back in with mom. Mom got to live by herself for a while. So I chose South Beach because I could live there without a car. And for 5 years, I enjoyed living in South Beach, walking to events, taking Uber to events, never missed a car for 5 years. And then it was around that time that Being Tracy was born, because I was also dating, right? So I was, putting it out there. I was out to find my soulmate after, a few years of being divorced. And I was putting things up on Facebook, my Tracy Busch Pate page that my family was like shuddering. My kids were shuddering. They were like, Mom, you can't be sharing all this information on your Tracy Busch Pate page. So I put it out there on Facebook. I said, well, what should I want to share this stuff. I've always wanted to share this stuff. So I said, what should I call it? I'm going to have to start a new page. And I have all these stories that were coming up from my dating. So someone came out of the woodwork that worked for one of our advertisers in the American Chiropractor magazine. And they said, well, I can write a blog. You start a blog for you. You should have a blog. And he said, I'm going to also start a Facebook page for you, a social page that's going to be from people spinning off that blog. So he, put it all together, and I was asking my friends on Facebook, well, what should I call this extra page? What should I call it? And they said, call it Being Tracy. And that's how it started, Being Tracy, because it's all about what it's like being Tracy, all the freaking crazy adventures that happened to me, and what I've lived through, what I've been through, what I've experienced, what I've learned, and what I enjoy, okay? And so I want to share that with you, okay? And so that's kind of what I'm going to be sharing here on this podcast. It's about, I'm a now 55-year-old woman, double Cincos, as they say in Panama, and I'm a single mother of now 4 grown, beautiful, smart, intelligent, wonderful children, all daughters. And I'm living life in balance while living life to the fullest. So I want to share that with you, okay? So anyway, if you're following my Being Tracy page on Facebook, you've seen that I share comedy excerpts. I share alternative medicine things that work for me. I share travel places that I've gone that are amazing, things that when you are traveling in Florida, where I live, you can do when you're here. Amazing cars, especially now that I live in beautiful Meisner Park, which I've never seen such beautiful cars as I've seen in here. It's been amazing. I've lived in the Republic of Panama. I've been all over the world, and I've never seen as many beautiful cars as I have seen here. I also share inspirational messages and just, ideas for travel tips if you want to do what I'm doing, that I'm enjoying, or that I'm not enjoying. That's another thing that I share, are things that are not working out for me or that don't work out for me, because I want you to learn from what I have done and what I continue to do so that some benefit can come from the bad things that have happened in my life, right? Anyway, so also I share occasional funny stories of things that happen in my life, which I don't know about you, but I'm always going to look for the funny part. I'm always going to look for what's funny going on in my life. And no matter how bad it can be, I'm always striving to make you laugh and to give you happiness and the opportunity to realize what we can all learn from these amazing experiences that I go through, so that either you don't have to go through them, or if you do go through them, you know how to deal with it, okay? Because that's what I'm always learning, because it's all about, what do they say? Be nice to everybody, because you never know what they're going through, right? All right. So anyway, I spent 5 years in South Beach. After that, I decided it was around COVID, and I actually have a blog that I wrote that I'm remembering my blogs now that I'm going back through them. One of them was called Typhoid Mary. I swear to God, they made me feel like Typhoid Mary, because I didn't take the COVID thing so seriously as a lot of people did. I traveled, I wore a mask, I went in a hazmat suit the way you're supposed to, but people were afraid to deal with me because they called me Typhoid Mary, or they didn't. I don't know if they really called me that, but they treated me like that. And so anyway, after 5 years there, I decided to get my real estate license. I moved to Coral Gables, where I found a great team with Keller Williams that I work with now. And it was an amazing transformation. I loved living in Miami. It was going to have to take some really, really tough things to happen to me to make me want to make a change. And that's what God gave me. He gave me challenges to get through, right? So anyway, another thing that I'm going to share with you on these episodes are the blogs that I've written, and then my verbal input on why I wrote them, what I was going through, what I was feeling, so that, like I said, you can learn from my experiences. Okay. So anyway, the first thing that happened to me when I I was on the precipice of leaving Miami, not knowing it yet. The first thing that happened to me was I found a dentist there, and it was in like December starting the next year when I was going to move. Um, I found a dentist. He seemed like a great guy, handsome guy, and then he somehow got me talked into doing this laser surgery, and he told me that if you start to smell barbecue, you're going to know that's working. And I didn't realize what was happening until I was laying flat on my back in his office, and I'm making little comments through the thing, and he's laughing his head off because I'm so funny. But I was like really horrified by the experience, being raised holistically by a holistic family, chiropractic family. My mother is a Christian Scientist, or was a Christian Scientist, so she never would have done anything like this. But I'm laying there in their chair, and they're lasering off something called your frenum, which is the little piece of skin that holds your lip to your teeth. Because he told me that was going to help my, what is it called when your gums are getting uh, receding, your receding gum line, which I was a little bit sensitive to because I know I do have a receding gum line. So, anyway, he got halfway through, and I'm like, shoot, I got to finish this surgery because I'm going to be lopsided if I don't. So anyway, I got to, he finished the surgery. I was horrified. It really was a damaging experience for me because I had never been through anything like that before, and I didn't understand it. I thought when he said he was going to laser, I was thinking ultrasound. I don't know. I mean, I didn't understand what was going to happen, and it wasn't very clearly advised to me. So anyway, when that all happened, that was the first thing. And then the second thing was I'd been seeing a man for a year who lived in my building. We had met through friends, and he was packing up, getting ready to leave. And he had always had difficulty saying the words, I love you. And now all of a sudden that he was moving, all of a sudden he was in love with me. He decided he wanted me to move with him. He wanted me to get my real estate license there where he was moving. He wanted to protect me. And he wanted us to just start our new life together where he was moving. So, this was like music to my ears. And then after that, the next time I saw him, basically he was mad at me in the elevator. We lived in the same building. He was packing up to leave, and he just disappeared out of my life. It was kind of like someone died. And he blocked me all over social media. And, it was months before I heard from him again. But I was a detective because I had to find out what happened. And I had to assume a different identity and find out on his Facebook page what happened, which was that he found another woman and had started a whole new relationship within days of the last time we were together. And that was super painful to go through. Like I said, it was like someone died. And so anyway, I mean, and now I know that why he was going through it. All the way through when I was seeing him, I had to study the personality differences of the people you are dating because he has an avoidant personality type, which there's the anxious personality type, and that usually attracts to that, and probably that's what I have. But anyway, I hope to have people on this show to not only discuss with us the alternatives to health that you can go through, that you don't all have to get a surgery because your gums are receding, and to understand how to deal with and how to love people that do have these different personality types. Because, that's what it's all about. It's all about love. And that's why it was a very, very difficult thing for me to go through. But everything that you deal with people is about love. It's about how much love you have inside and how much love you can show them, no matter what they're going through, to help them go through it. Okay, so then another thing that happened. Number 3. My car broke down on the side of I-95 when I was going to a conference that I'd been attending all weekend. And so I was lucky enough to be able to pull over my car on the side of the road. And then another car came by and hit me when I was on the side of the road. And so then I was afraid to be inside my car. So then I got out of the car and like I'm pinned up against this wall on the side of the road. And then, there are street urchins out there. There are people that live out there. A man came up to me with silver hair, silver teeth, wanted to talk to me, wanted to help me, he said. It was another very terrifying experience that I went through. And then from that, the person whose event that I was attending, the conference, I got my YouTube page taken down because I took a video of myself at his conference, among other videos, and I guess he had a copyright on everything shot there, even though I saw a bunch of people that had cameras there filming and everything. He took my page down. My YouTube page came down. So anyway, that was another thing that I went through. Number 4, crazy thing that happened to me that got me to move to Boca from Miami was my identity was stolen. First thing happened was it was stolen on Instagram. Someone overtook my Instagram page and started sending out Bitcoin notices to all of my people that had following me, wanting to sell Bitcoin, saying that I was in some kind of a spotlight program for influencers and that I wanted to sell them Bitcoin or whatever. Anyway, that went on. Then as I do from my Instagram, I always put it on Facebook and say, hey, can anybody help me with this? I don't know what's going on here, but I'm being taken advantage of on Instagram. Someone please help me. Then a man came out of the woodwork with the name David Angel because he'd been following me on Facebook. He knew I was spiritual and religious, so he made his name Angel. And he also knew that I wear a Rolex because he mentioned my Rolex one time. He was like, "What? You wear a Rolex on these shows and you on these videos that I see you on Facebook, and you don't have any money to pay me to get your page back?" So then he took my page down. He hacked me and took my Facebook page down. So now my Instagram page is taken down. My Facebook page is taken down. I've got people calling me from Facebook for 3 months in the middle of the night saying they're going to fix my page. They just want my bank account number. I mean, just all this. It was just a really frightening, scary thing that is out there, So that is the first 4 things that I've told people. I've told people these are the things that I was going through. Took me 3 months, and actually I do have a YouTube video on Instagram it's a YouTube video on YouTube that I put up in December of, I guess it was 2000. Let me see what it was, 2020. All right, I put this video on Instagram or on YouTube rather, to tell people how to get their Facebook page and Instagram page back, and I believe it was. Let me see if I wrote down the date. I know I did, but I'm not able to find it right now. But it was, I guess I didn't write down the date, but anyway, it's on YouTube. It's a year back. It was a year ago. Okay, so for people that have trouble, I freaking stuck with it, and I watched all these videos on people that had lost their page, and I followed a lot of different guidelines, and I will tell you on that video on YouTube what worked for me and how I finally got my page back. After 3 months, I got all my pages back. Okay, and I had to start another YouTube page because that other person had taken down my YouTube page. I guess I was a threat. So anyway. Last and final thing that happened that I've never told anybody about is that I was drugged and raped in Miami. And I actually have a blog here, which is a blog that I wrote. It was written December 28th, 2022, okay? Because the day after this event where I was drugged and raped, I actually had planned on coming to Boca to look into moving here because I'd had a friend who was moving to Boca from She lived in Fisher Island at that time, and she was trying to get me to move there, and I didn't. I was thinking about it, right? So that next day, I had planned. Well, let me go see where I could live in Boca. Okay, um, and this is what happened. I'll read you the blog that I wrote. It's very short. Oh, and this is how it started because this is the way people are, right? Someone said to me in the well, you sure look happy. The woman smirked at me as she got in the elevator. I stopped as I was exiting the elevator and looked back at her and responded, "Well, that's because I choose to be happy." When I first moved to Boca Raton, the big question was, "You left Miami? Why? Why would you leave Miami?" I couldn't answer this question and I couldn't even respond without crying. My new friends told me, "You are going to have an answer. People are going to keep asking." They didn't know what happened either, but they just knew that it was something really emotional that had happened to me. Hence the answer that I told them. Well, there are amazing real estate deals in the Palm Beaches, which is true. And the last real estate deals that I found and closed for my clients were in Palm Beach. Also true. Why? What I didn't tell them is that the post-traumatic stress disorder that I was suffering from due to the experience that I'd had this last year while living in Miami. If you go back to the blog I wrote mid-year called Changing It Up, that blog begins to tell the story. The part of the story that I kept to myself until now is that the last thing that happened finally made me realize that things were not getting better for me in Miami. Things were actually getting worse. After all those really bad things that happened to me, the last one took a few weeks for me to figure out and remember and understand what happened. To me, the story doesn't deserve any time except to know that the final blow for me in Miami was me being drugged, then raped by a stranger that I met a couple days before. And it was extremely perplexing, disturbing, because the first date we went to church on Sunday. He said he prided himself on being a Catholic like me. When I reflect on the date, though, he couldn't even sit through the church service. It all makes perfect sense to me now. After the church service, he rejoined me in the church pew and said he left the sanctuary because he had to cough. Anyway, fast forward to the end of the date when I woke in his bed in the middle of being violated in the worst way and feeling very strange. Embarrassed, I got up, asked him to call me a car, and went immediately home. I was completely unsure of what happened or how I got there. The next day I woke still feeling drugged. I had never experienced this feeling before. It was completely foreign, and I'd planned on coming back to visit Boca, as I'd had a friend who was encouraging me to move, and I'd been considering it. I honestly didn't know what to do or really what had happened the night before. I woke a couple of times in the middle of the violation, and I remembered acting like I was completely out of my mind. I never wanted to see this man again, but then I remembered that I had left my sunglasses in his place. I texted him and asked him to please mail them to me. They were new and weren't cheap. He responded like now he was going to be my boyfriend. He responded like now he was going to be my boyfriend, which was increasingly puzzling, and said that he thought he'd have me over for dinner later in the week. He texted me a couple times the following day. I'm not sure why. I think more toward the theme that he was going to act like my boyfriend, so he could then just drift quietly away. He never invited me to do anything again and never returned my sunglasses, and by the time I realized what had happened, it was a few weeks later. I never even thought of going to the doctor the following day, which is what the first thing you're supposed to do following a rape. I didn't know his address because he drove me home. He drove me to his home and called me a car to send me home as I requested. I didn't even know where we were, somewhere in Kendall. This was the final straw that made me realize that it was time for my world to change. It took a while for me to remember what happened, and I think it through, but I feel that I am in the right place right now in Boca Raton, Florida, and I know I would never have moved without all of these experiences that I went through. I never would have moved. It had freaking took every single one of them to get me to move because I was, one was bad. Well, then the next one's gonna be worse. Then the next one's gonna be worse. Like, then by the last one, I was like, okay, I surrender, God. I surrender. I'm out. I feel that life is a gift, and yes, it is my choice to emit happiness, hopefully, and to bring happiness to others. Is my life easy? Hell no. However, no matter what you go through, there is an opportunity to grow through it. And through growth always comes opportunities. And then at the end of my blog, I just wrote, thank you. God bless to each and every one of you. I just know that 2023 is going to open up a lot of doors and bring us so much more to be thankful for. Anyway, that's pretty much the theme. The theme that I'm going by on being Tracy. And I just want to share my experiences that I've grown through so you don't have to go through the same experiences, so you can stop it when you see something like these things happen. Or, you know what? I also share some really great things that happen to me that can that you can know about and go experience for yourselves. Anyway, so after this trip to Boca to look at apartments the next day, I went back home to Miami. Still couldn't really remember what happened with this guy. And I told everybody, don't worry about it. I'm not leaving. I told my business partners at Keller Williams, I'm staying. I've put too much money into Miami for me to leave just on the fly. So I said, I'm going to be staying. And then a month and a half later, after going through PTSD, I had visual triggers that were coming up. I felt very unsafe and very unhappy. Okay, and after this, I found myself at the Boca Raton Hotel with the American Chiropractor magazine. My brother had come into town with his family from Panama to work this conference with me for the American Chiropractor. And I just said to my brother, I said, Joe, I just feel like all the signs are telling me to move to Miami or to move to Boca. And he said, well, Tracy, sometimes you got to listen to the signs. So that's what I did. When the conference was over, I went right back over to the apartment that I liked the most when I'd been there a month ago. And they gave me a deal I couldn't refuse. And I told them, I'm moving this week. I'm moving in 3 days. And that's how I got the deal that I couldn't refuse, because I just made the decision and went. And I've still had it's been a year now that I've been here, just over a year, and I've still had some things to grow through, but I'm getting stronger and stronger every day, and that's what I'm so thankful for. And I'm a God believer. I'm a spiritual believer. I believe in everything good. I believe God is good, and I believe in everything good. And I believe that as long as you know that there is good, that you can find and achieve good in the world. So anyway, the goals of this podcast, I'm going to educate on healthcare. I want to educate on mental health so that you can understand the different personality disorders that you're coming into when you are dating around and you're finding your maybe soulmate, but maybe you're not matching up quite perfectly yet. Maybe you have to understand each other a little bit more. I want to educate on the different types of safety and the beautiful cars that are out there that we can enjoy. Also on how to keep your social media safe. And when you do lose your social media, how are you going to get it back? I want to introduce superstars that we have in our midst. I want to have fun, give dating tips, inspire, give reasons to laugh, just like I do on my Facebook Being Tracy page, and give real estate market updates, because it matters how you perceive what happens to you, right? And my sister used to say to me, Tracy, you don't have to always be happy. But I don't know why, but I do have the feeling that everything that I share has to always be bringing people up. And that's what I strive to do. Ideas for getting young and staying young, beautiful, youthful, healthy, and beating loneliness. Because we all, at times in our life, experience loneliness. And it's all about being grateful for what you have and different ways to show your gratitude. Okay, so Now we fast forward to the change. I'm also going to be sharing the real estate market in here, okay? Nationally, year over year, there has been a decline in prices, but also year over year, decline in houses for sale. Many people are sitting on what we call below market interest rates, 2.5%, 3%. They don't think they want to sell yet because what are they going to do? Jump up to a 6%, 7%? Okay, we don't see those interest rates going down anytime soon. According to Keller Williams chief economist Ruben Gonzalez, we feel that the mortgage rates peaked last month. However, we don't expect interest rates to get much lower than that, 6% plus or minus anytime soon. Most homeowners have at least 50% in equity in their home right now, and they don't even know it. Okay, so that's what people like me are here to help you find out, to help you know exactly what you have your foot on, so that if one of your challenges is the economy and is how much money you have, hey, maybe you have an opportunity right there below your belt that you're not even considering, okay? So it's always the right time to buy the right place, the right piece of real estate, okay? So in my life right now, I'm manifesting my future, okay? I'm manifesting happiness. My girls are doing amazing, my 4 daughters. I love the people that I'm meeting in Boca. I'm just super grateful for where I am right now in life and for what I have achieved. And I actually even took a vacation in June. For the first time in like 5 years, I went to Europe. A girlfriend invited me to come with her to celebrate her birthday. And my first answer is always a blanket no. Nope, I'm not going. I've got to work. No, I'm not going. And then she's hung. I said, well, wait. I said, I might change my mind. That's the way I ended. I might change my mind. And so next thing I know, she kept plugging me with, ideas where we could go, what we could do. And then I thought to myself, you know what? It's been at least 5 years since the last time I went on a vacation. And that was alone. And it was a bummer because I was alone. I just decided anywhere you go is only as good as the people you're traveling with. So I ended up going on a trip to Italy for 2 weeks with her, and we had an absolute blast. And that is how my page went viral. My Being Tracy page freaking went viral there, and it was only from one video that I shot, standing out a coffee shop, just doing a reel to show everybody where I was. I got up every morning, I got on the bus, I didn't know where I was going. Most of the time I had to talk in Spanish to people. Then I'd find out where I should go from there. Take a train? Okay, I'll take a train. Where should I go? Monte Carlo? Nice? I'm not sure. Well, Nice is 12 minutes away. Monte Carlo is 15 minutes away. Okay, I've always wanted to go to Monte Carlo. So I went to Monte Carlo. Then the last day I actually went to Madrid because I needed a phone charger. And I heard that the best place for me to go in Madrid was, I think it was called Curacao. And so anyway, on my YouTube page, you can see all these wonderful videos that I shot there too, on this wonderful vacation that I took. And I just got a real big juice. I got juiced to, I guess, do this podcast for you and to share all of these wonderful things for you so that we can all enrich our lives and enrich where we are and increase our opportunities out there, right? Because that's what it's all about. Okay, so anyway, please remember, even the trials in our life had to happen to push us on to greatness. Humor and inspiration can be found in even the worst situations, which is what I really, really found last year. Like and subscribe to my channel. Please join me on this journey. Follow me on all social media platforms and follow me wherever you find your podcast, because now I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be sharing this podcast everywhere. So send me a message of what you want to hear. If there's something that I didn't mention here, or if you know somebody that you think that would be interested to be interviewed, I want to know. I want to know how to best serve you and help you to achieve what you can achieve in life, because I think we've really got an opportunity here to be the best that we can be. So why don't we do it?